because critics inside and outside of both political parties are wondering if this thing can happen quickly. And why the urgency all of a sudden? Well, Humana and Aetna sort of spilled the beans. The implosion is happening a lot quicker than anyone anticipated. Here to discuss, Lee Carter, Akash Chugli, and Gina Loudon. Akash, help me out with the numbers here, because, you know, we always knew it didn't make sense on paper, but the stem, the fuse is so close now, it's going to blow up sooner than later. What's going to happen with the GOP? Are they going to be ready?
It's a hard sell to see if they're going to be ready or not. We have the 2015 bill as a baseline to start, but I think Senator Paul is coming from the right place. They need to repeal the Medicaid expansion, repeal the subsidies, repeal the mandates. Anything less than the 2015 bill is simply unacceptable. Obamacare Light is unacceptable. That's what the American people voted for, is to repeal Obamacare once and for all. That's the direction we need to start going with, you know, here in the next couple of weeks.
But Lee, you've polled so many people on this topic before and after the election. Do you sense they want Obamacare Light? Some of these key issues, kids up to 26, pre-existing conditions, those kind of things?
Look, 8 in 10 people want there to be an overhaul of Obamacare, but most people do want kids up to 26, and most people want pre-existing conditions covered. It is a case of you want your cake and you want to eat it too. But the bottom line is this: people want to see action. Donald Trump was elected because of taxes, because of Obamacare, because of economy, because of jobs. They want to see some movement forward. And I think there are a fair number of people who are disappointed at this point that there's not a proposal put forward. They should have had they had enough time to put it forward. So I think there's a lot of people who are disappointed in that. The bottom line is this: we have to remember, Donald Trump 27 days ago took office. So I think everybody needs to take a breath, allow us to think about this, and make things happen. But of course people want.
You know, Gina, I get where Lee is coming from, but it's not the urgency on the White House's point. It's the urgency that this thing is falling completely apart. You know, it's like that dam in California, but this is worse. I mean, bricks are coming out of it as we speak. Water is spouting out of it as we speak. Forget about evacuating 200,000 people. Try 11 million.
Yeah, California is a great example of how to make things fall apart if we want to emulate that, but I don't think that's the goal. You know, it's interesting. I really do agree with the conservatives who are saying this needs to be a strict repeal. This needs to be returned to the states, and we've seen this work. My own husband, who was a state senator in Missouri, authored the bill that was totally pure free market based, and Mercator's study just said that state has the best access in the country now. So we've proven that that works, so we need to go with what works. On the same note, though, Charles, I want to say that I understand the president and especially this administration wanting to be deliberative about this, because we know that short-term stability will equal long-term success. And that's where our focus needs to be, on what works and on making a solid, thoughtful, deliberative transition. And that just simply cannot happen in 3 weeks.
Okay, Akash. Tom Price, he's in. He's authored several, different ideas on this already. You've got some of these purists, economic purists like the Rand Pauls of the world. Ultimately, a plan will have to be picked. Which ones of the ones that are sort of floating out there, even in rough drafts, do you think we'll see?
Hopefully none of the above, Charles. This is a really important point. Republicans need to understand we don't want another 3,000-page Nancy Pelosi-style pass it so you can find out what's in it healthcare reform. We need individual bills that take on specific problems with specific solutions. Many of the concepts are shared between these plans, but we need to take these problems on one at a time to move healthcare in a better direction without another big government, federal government solution.
Lee, you know, there's some talk about now this belongs to the Republicans and it's their problem. What do you think? Do you think the American people will understand, hey, this came along, it was cobbled together, it was completely partisan, it was written by insurance companies and never had Americans in mind, and it was riddled with inaccuracies and lies. You think the public will give the GOP a break if maybe there's a rough transition to a new plan?
I think so. I think that, look, all we're talking about is how unhappy America is right now. But the bottom line is this: many people are unhappy. There are that many people who are happy and have hope and promise in what is yet to come. And so I do think that the American people are going to be patient on this. I think as long as they're seeing a steady drip of action, we're seeing things happen on jobs, we're seeing things happen on immigration, we're going to start to see things as we've been promised on taxes. I think if people see a slow drip of activity that's going to benefit them, that ultimately that's going to be more important than this big, let's just have something that's 2,000 pages tomorrow that doesn't make sense to the American people.
All right, guys, thank you all very much. Next,